Walk blessed.
Too dangerous. Whatever they want here. If we send spies and they get caught, then we see this as a provocation.
All they did was invade a foreign country. Yet look how ruthless we are, sending spies in order to find out.
You both know what I mean. You know my opinion, Tina.
I will consider it. You come at the right time, Prophet. Commander, explain the situation.
Of course, Grandmaster. Yesterday, we received word from one of our outposts in Duneville. One of the fishermen there saw warships anchoring on an island some miles from shore. And they bear the Neremese flag.
We have already sent scouts to confirm this, and it is true. The Neremese have invaded our land. We have a suspicion. I suppose you know that the civil war in Nerem has ended 2 months ago. And who won it? The combined forces of the Northern and the Middle Realm, led by Taranor Korek of Kabait. The Southern rebels and the remnants of the Creator's Temple have been destroyed, once and for all. Now Nerem has been united under the banner of the Free People of Nerem, how they like to call themselves. And this could be the reason for these warships. Because of this Koarek.
The Lightborn were slain. And while before that, he was an opportunist who changed his ideals as often as his underpants, it seems that his crusade with Narathzul converted him, so to speak. He has become a declared enemy of religion.
He thinks of the death of the gods as the first step of many. And now he sees it his task to rid Vin of religion once and for all. Free the world from the scourge of faith. These are his words.
Though it is worth mentioning that his understanding of freeing includes mass executions and the burning down of temples. He's a fanatic. And worse, his men worship him for it. What he wants is to found a new world, and his free people of Nerem are supposed to be vanguard of it. Well, with the small but subtle difference that it was Narazul's vision to restore the human right of self-determination, and not to obliterate every kind of superstition or spirituality.
It is plain stupid to believe a way of thinking can be beaten out of someone's head with just enough violence. The only thing that does is radicalize. Though a world without religion would be a better one, that's without doubt.
Nonsense. The people need a higher power that guides them. You can see what chaos the death of the Lightborn brought on the world, and without your orders doing, all this would never have happened.
Of course. Where were we? Not much. Or... yes, there is. He's a narcissist. I was surprised to hear that the banners of his free people are ornamented with a picture of his and an inscription saying, "Praise me." Correct.
What Korek doesn't understand is that we're doing this to prevent a crisis. Not before the High Ones have been stopped. The civil war on Kile, Nerem, and Arazial shows what chaos such a revelation can cause. And we will not take this risk. That is the problem. Pegast?
We believe that Korek already knows about the cycle and the cleansing. And that he, how should I put it, wants it to happen. I'm afraid so. I know how strange this sounds, but in a way it makes sense. For him, Enderal as the home of the Holy Order is the epitome of ignorance and stagnation. And we suppose he even knows that we are fighting these High Ones. But in his eyes, everything a paragon of the old order tries to prevent from happening must be something good. Maybe he even sees the High Ones as prophets of his new era. Who knows? Fanatics are unpredictable.
Right now, this is only an assumption, but we have to know. Yes. Do you know what a silver plate is? The ones I'm talking about are more. They are relics from Arctvent. What makes them unique is their power to transfer sound. Every plate has a counterpart, and if someone standing near one plate says something, the one standing near the other one hears it too. Our plan is to place 2 of the plates in their camp. That way we can sound them out without risk. You, Firespark, and the mercenary, Dalvarek. However, you cannot travel to the island by ship. That would be too conspicuous.
We found out Pyreans had some kind of underground transporting system. Under-trains, that's what they called them. These trains connected the most important regions of the realm with each other, and thus probably also the temple on the island where Korek's ships set anchor. If we can manage to find one of these trains, we could use them to get right to his camp. And, as it happens, we have information about a Pyrean temple in the Crystal Forest, one that is still intact enough for us to find a way into one of these trains.
The living temple.
That's how you call it, yes. But enough of the chit-chat. First of all, we need to find the gem that is used to open the gate of the temple. And I have a guess where we could find it. A village called Fogville, not far from the Whisperwood. As soon as possible. Joseph the mercenary has already traveled to Fogville, and you should do the same. I will meet you there.
So you're talking about accomplished facts, or what?
It is the only... I'm sorry, Natara. Prophet, I'm counting on you. Find out why Korek is here.
That's beyond me.
Huh? I am. Why do you ask? Aren't you a little young to be some kind of prophet? What age does one need to qualify for prophecy? My father started teaching me how to use a sword when I was 6, and when I was 13, I joined the city guard as one of the youngest recruits since the first vassals. When I was 20, I was promoted to the rank of sergeant, and at 28, the Turkessa herself granted me the title of commander, after my squad and I fought off a group of Skarrig invaders at the Farmer's Coast. So no, I don't think I'm too young for this post. Path-abidingness and discipline need no age. A man on his deathbed can be as much of a fool as a boy of 9 winters, as Laura Waterblade once said. He was a keeper, one of the best and one of the most virtuous. Even though he was only of the manufacturer's path, both his talent and path-abidingness made the former Grand Master, Del Capos, grant him the novitiate. And, in case you were wondering, his name derives from the fact that he was excellent at both swordplay and magic. Elementarism and thaumaturgy, to be precise. That wasn't common in those days. He fell in the Battle of the Dark Valley during the Blood Moon riots. A great loss for the Order. But his heritage remains.
Walk blessed, Prophet. Yes.
Now look at that. It's the Prodigy. Now look at that. Someone who's actually interested in us as people, rather than in our knowledge about the Pyreans. But it's your lucky day. I really wouldn't mind a good talk right now. Hold on a second. Arizalian Brandy. Vintage 8214. What do you say? A glass and a good talk? There are a couple of things I wanted to ask you anyway. All right then. When I hear you say that, I don't regret for a second that I never came back to Ostian, even though I've thought about it from time to time. Wow! Finally, someone who says it up front. Yeah, I've got some Scarag blood in me, though comparably little in regards to how much it shows. My grandfather, he used to serve in the South Realms Marines, and one day they captured a ship of Scarag raiders, some of them women. Stories say he fell in love with one of them, and yeah, you can connect the dots. But to answer your original question, yes, I'm from Ostian. Though we fled the city around 10 years ago. The right choice, as I probably don't need to tell you. The temple was always a bunch of fanatical fuckheads, but that bastard High Priest Janus gave the word butcher an entirely new meaning.
Hello. Well, I was until recently. But seriously, things are starting to get
I know,
dicey down
and nah, I hardly know anything about her. Only that they were raiders and that she fled about 2 years after giving birth to me. Poor Grandpa. You should have seen how people reacted to the way I looked. Even as a kid, they always looked at me and my almond-shaped eyes as if they were expecting me to pull out a skull fetish any second and start putting curses on anyone in the vicinity.
Things you hear from the wilderness. I'm starting to get worried.
Well, according to the Doomville people, the mines are safe as always. But do you want to hear my opinion? I think you should call back all the money you have invested.
True words. Warriors of the Creator. War against the infidels. The Creator's children don't even sugarcoat how radical their faith is anymore. And still, so many people join their ranks. It's fucking insane. But then again, I guess that's religion for you. Don't think for yourself anymore. Let someone else do it for you.
Now forgive me.
At least it was for my brother.
Walk blessed, friend.
I had. He was about 15 years older than me, and was always a troubled child. Rakul. That was his name. You know, my family was very wealthy before we fled. Drapers for generations. The best in Ostian. I suppose that's why my father expected so much from Rakul, since I, as a woman, wouldn't have been allowed to take over the business when my father would have retired. But Rakul, he just wasn't made out for it, you know? He was shy and introverted, and never had a hand for money. I can't remember how often father told him that he was a disgrace to the family. You can call it that, yes. Looking back, I think the temple only gave him what father wouldn't. A perspective. The feeling of being needed. He spent almost all of his time in the temple after his conversion, and knew the entire Rania, their holy scripture, by heart. Well, in one day, he announced that simply attending the masses wasn't enough anymore. He would join the temple's warriors. Come on. My brother wasn't the only young man with a difficult past. That's no excuse for anything. Of course, my father is to blame too, but the real culprits are these bastards called preachers who exploit the vulnerability of people like him and indoctrinate them with their fucking bullshit. And once that's done, they send them to fight for their holy causes. In other words, their own interests, like pawns on a chessboard. And if they die, then they call it a fucking honor. I'm sorry, my dame. Your youngest son just died. But don't worry, he's in a better place now, eating grapes and drinking honey. What solace, isn't it? Now, do you have any other neglected children for us? We're running short on material. Damn it, I hate those bastards. I just hate them so much. He was slaughtered, hacked into pieces by Chancellor Baratheon's cavalry. That was before the peace treaty. I'd be surprised if they taught him what end of a lance to stab with before they sent him into the field. But, well, I guess that answers the question you asked me up in the temple, doesn't it? I was sick of seeing people using religion for their own ends. Creator, Lightborn, the Great Spirit. Same shit, different name. And you know what? No matter how much chaos the death of the gods caused, I don't regret being a part of it, not in the least. It was the right thing to do. Anyway, I'd say we call it quits for now, okay? It was good talking to you, but I'm dying for a nap. Take care.
Hello. Do come back. The best wine in all of Enderal. Come, give it a try. Vintage.
Yes? Yes?
There you are. I've been looking for you for days. Do you remember me? You, helped me back in the ruin. Shh, not here. I just came to thank you. Thanks to you, I was able to pay me debts. And both my family and the farm are safe once again. As you can imagine, I don't have any money to show you my gratitude. But I thought that this might be useful to you. Take it. It's the least I can do.
I should thank you. Walk blessed, and may your path always be even.
Walk blessed. Hey, wait a minute, you... Never mind. Oh, you're an Outlander, aren't you? From Araziel. I mean, no offense, really. I'm just, well, curious. Narum, you say? Is it true that Arazelian people are, well, divided? That they are the civilized who worship the Lightborn and the savages in the steppes? If that... You know, once this chaos in the world is over, I want to go travel myself. Who knows? Maybe a captain will hire me as a deckhand.
Yippee! My Malphas, so moving.
What? What the? I beg your pardon? But, by the righteous path, this is incredible! I've never heard anything like this before! Tell me, my friend, where did you learn this? Who taught you poetry? Blazes, you're self-taught. Malphas truly did bless you with talent. Tell me, may I interpret your poem? It's just I have to. Well then, I hope this is not too much of a leap, but does your first line, the one with the dancing elder between fire and ice, deal with the socio-sexual isolation of old people in feudal societies? I may be wrong, but that was the first thought that came to my head. No, not at all. I was particularly moved by how you used onomatopoeia in line 4 and 6. Do these brutal noises at the end of each verse symbolize the hedonistic, violent way of life among the common people who have absolutely no regard for the lonely man? Phew. Now that's a tough one. To me, it sounds like the inner voice of a murderer. Yes, exactly. He celebrates his bloodthirsty way of life. In the fangs of violence, my heart laughs. And then, suddenly, justice ends him, which is once again conveyed through those guttural noises. And I have to say, how you use the uneven number of verses as a metaphor for the discord that results from such a lifestyle is nothing short of brilliant. If that's what you meant by it, of course. You did, didn't you? Well, you know what? They wouldn't. The common people, they don't even understand when I tell them I'm a poet. Poet, they ask? What kind of profession is that? So now I simply tell them I'm an innkeep. That is something they are able to grasp with their limited intellect. Easy answers. That's what people long for. But you know what? I would rather die hungry than become one of those soulless pot-boiler artists who make a fortune off their stupid stories. Like Jonas Schmid does. Do you know him? Mundane rubbish. That's all he writes, but you'll find it on every bookshelf. It's a disgrace. Pure and simple. What kind of question is that? How can something that so many people like not be rubbish? Of course! Not everyone has been blessed with an artist's intellect, you know. There are two kinds of writers. small minds who give the common people fodder that helps them feel smart, and true artists who want more from life. Those who create, with no greed for gold and fame, bound solely by the calling of the muse. Of course I am. I wish it weren't true, but it is. If only there were more people like us. Hymn of the Desert King. Dark as the sun, light as the night. Thousand raindrops, red and small. Lo, from the velvet sky they fall. Kya, oomph, waka waka. She smiles into the desert moon and yuck, puke. Oh woe, my heart is aflame. And it is over. Between cobblestone and excretion, between darkness and light. Hua! Hua! Advance the fleet! Always forward! Always forward! Forward for the glory and honor! The spears at the ready, driving the swords into the bodies. The same play, day after day. Of the Desert King. Dark as the sun, light.
Potion to cure red madness.
Can I help you?
You're a foreigner, aren't you? I wish I'd have crossed the Red Sea once, or seen Kira, the Grand Bazaar. Oh, well.
You're here. I didn't know you were on patrol today too.
I've got 6, so I pitched it.
Yes?
Huh?
Miss,
Can I help you?
Huh, look at that.
Yes?
someone there.
Fucking piece of shit! You're...